Welcome back everybody, Dr. Birch here again. So you can see in this video our setup for detecting the radioactivity from our radioactive source. So we've got our detector over here on the left, that's this little black tube. And it's connected to this LabQuest device, which basically will just record all the data for us and makes the measurements. We've got a ruler here so we can measure how far our radioactive source is from a detector. And then we've got a radioactive source here, which is just this green disc. So it's green, so that means it's the beta emission. So this is our beta source. So what we're gonna do in this experiment is we're going to have our source at some distance, and then the detector is going to make a reading at that distance, and then we'll move it closer, it'll make another reading, and we'll keep moving it closer, and we'll get 6 total data points. It's gonna take it 15 seconds to read at each data point. So once we start it, it'll take it 15 seconds to read where it is now, which you'll have that time to record the distance on the ruler, and I'll move it closer, you'll record the distance, move it closer, record the distance. And then at the end, I'll come back and I'll show you the LabQuest device where you can actually see the readings of our radioactive counts. So when it comes to reading the ruler, again, you don't have to be very accurate or precise. Just do your best to try to read what centimeter or millimeter the radioactive source is. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna push start on our reading. And so now it's going, it's gonna take it 15 seconds. So during that 15 seconds, go ahead and record the distance that the radioactive source is. So basically just read the ruler and line up the disc with the ruler and record what that distance is. So it got our first reading, so I'm gonna move it a little closer. So record the distance here again. All right, so that's our second reading. Gonna move it a little closer. So you're gonna record this distance as the third reading. All right, gonna move it a little closer. So this is your fourth distance. So record the distance on the ruler. All right, and then this is your fifth distance. So record it on the ruler as well. And we have one more after this. All right, so I'm gonna move it and record this distance as your sixth data point. And then after this point, we'll go take a look at the radioactive data for the counts. All right, so we've got our data here. And so here's a table with our time and our radiation counts. So these radiation counts are what you're gonna record along with your distance. This first data point is the furthest distance that we were. And then as you go down the table, you'll be getting closer and closer to the detector. Each of these points aligns with your measurements that you've made on the ruler. So this last data point is your closest to the detector. The top point is your furthest away from the detector. So you'll want to match up this data with your distance data from measuring the ruler. And that is our beta source.